cheeseburger in my pocket.
You'll get it back when you get out of prison, sir.
But I need it now.
I don't have any food.
I
I'm
might
starving myself.
not make it in prison.
Here,
There's food in there. You can get food. Gotta drop
I-
it. Put it right in front of the bars, like at the bottom. You can get food in prison, sir. There's food there.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, there's food. There's drinks.
No,
There's
take the
everything.
bag of
you need.
chips. To hopefully at least hold you over.
Sir, that's gonna be your fine, $2,709. And as we agreed, since we were here, and let me make some quick calculations.
20 months.
20 months. So you're gonna be serving 20 months as Bolingbroke State Penitentiary, sir.
Okay. Have a good day.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one,
Bye.
sir.
I'm sorry.
Listen, it is what it is. There's always next time, though.
Yep, there's always next
If
time.
there is a next time.
No, there
And
won't
take
be
your
a next
mugshot
time.
before you go.
Good.
Sir. Come over here at the bars.
Oh.
All
All right, how you doing, Sterling?
I just got all the vehicles added to the report. I'm getting them attached.
Good. Let me see.
I was just listening on that. It's very heartfelt.
Yeah. I understand. I understand why. I mean, when I came here, and I heard him, I knew exactly what their mindset was when I had originally pulled him over, because it was very to the point. I pulled up right beside him, and like I said, I was gonna be like, "Listen, just step out of the car. I know it's stolen." And he's like, "Why am I being pulled over?" Like with attitude. And I was like, "Oh no, no!"
Always trying to
please.
outsass, you know.
Yes, and that I can't let that happen. I can't. And then we ended up in like an hour-long pursuit, swap after swap after swap. There was the original blue car, then they swapped to, I don't remember. There's a Tailgater, there's a Glendale, there's a Premier. Gosh, I don't even remember. But like, so many vehicles, all for one original stolen car that I genuinely, I swear, would have just let him walk.
Yeah,
But-
we can't let that happen.
Yeah.
Not this time of day. Not this day of the week.
Not
Not
this
at all.
week of the month, and not this month of the year. Yep, I agree.
Mm.
I agree.
23 months.
Throw the key away, quote unquote.
Wait, what? No, 17?
Hmm.
45, sir.
Um,
Yeah, 45 was total. So
Yeah, that was some
Hmm.
great driving.
20,
Great
like
comms.
a couple of months go by. Let's do it 22.
oh, wait, you did, you had both the Glendale and
Sir, you're gonna be
the
set up
Ballista
for 22
inbounded?
months
You're the one who
Yeah.
did both of those?
for,
Nice.
some charges that I've listed earlier.
And then for the Ballista, when you impounded it, did you put it for, oh, I see right here. When they're not present, no tampering. Perfect.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Trying to support. It was kind of a little bit of a struggle in the CVPI, but I was holding up for a while when they were down the city. Like if they got to stick to doing a bunch of corners and not the straights, the CVs can keep up, and there's no turbo in that, so it seems like it is possible for the CVs to keep up with that in certain areas.
Oh yeah, it definitely depends on which vehicle is being utilized. Like that Premier, straight up, there's not a single car actually VSTR could keep up in a straight if we could get it into, I think it's 8th gear. But because it's an automatic, it struggles so hard to get into that last gear. But oops, sorry. There is a very important role throughout scenes like this, sort of like the never-ending swap after swap after swap, and that is people who can evaluate the situation, and for example in this case, although Watt assigned you to deal, I think, with the Ballista originally, I don't even know if you were prompted to do the Glendale, but the important bits here are that, number one, those vehicles need to be dealt with, because if they're not, somebody is just going to go back, repair it, and take it. Happens all the time and will continue to happen all the time. So the fact that, you can see where you are best utilized is a very important skill that not many people have. A lot of people often think, well, if I'm not in the pursuit, I'm not going to get noticed. The reality is, if you're in a CVPI and we're pursuing a car doing 160, you're not going to get noticed because you're not going to actually be in the pursuit. Like that's the reality. And so, like I said, seeing the report or all the evidence documented as it is, I mean, it's just solid across the board. It hits on everything.
I appreciate that. I like to be a supportive unit, assist with statements, victim statements, evidence collection. I like doing evidence and paperwork. Surprisingly,
Um, I I'm very middle of the road. I don't. That wasn't even a pun, but
You didn't say-
straight up, I genuinely like it all. Now, when I say that, I also mean everything in moderation. You know, when we were just the skeleton crew and we were dealing with 3 senior bun stabbings an hour, yeah, that was rough. When there was only 2 or 3 of us on duty dealing with that amount of concurrent crime. But nowadays, it's definitely it's better. For sure. Definitely better. Do you have
Yeah,
any questions, by the way? Are you good? Kind of just want to check in.
yeah, everything's been good.
No questions regarding
Been busy.
anything? You haven't crossed anything that you're not too sure of?
Oh, actually, yes, there is
What's up?
something that's going on right now. I'm glad you asked that. So, let me pull the report up.
Are you referring to the thing up north in Polito?
No, this was a homicide.
Ooh, okay.
While I pull the report up, it's in regards to subpoena and dead people's phone records.
Okay.
Dead people have no rights, by the way.
In saying that though, if we want an official subpoena versus just like taking the sim or their phone and going through it, that's an interesting one.
I didn't do it because I understood that they didn't have rights, but it didn't say specifically. It said note their in regards to like the DOA process, it said note the sim, and then I know in regards to like the rights, it said they don't have rights, but I don't really necessarily know what that entails. But also the tricky part about this is the messages are going to be in regards to people who are still alive, right? So
Yep.
in regards to their
The
side, I didn't see it.
well, that's irrelevant. The only questionable stuff, and I know that there's more recent legislation regarding it, I believe, is any privileged conversations. And I believe legislation now, yeah, privilege defined.
Yeah, if the
Conversations
deceased
between
is like a lawyer or a doctor, then there is some confidentiality there. But if he doesn't have any privilege stuff,
well,
and
so this gets even trickier because privilege does expire. In
Yeah.
fact, the first listed expiration is upon the death of one of the parties. Privilege expires upon the
Oh.
death of one of the parties. Written approval from the parties, verbal approval from the parties with at least 2 third-party witnesses present. One of the parties is not dead but incapacitated. The authority to waiver permission transfers to the next of kin or the DOJ if no next of kin is listed with LSMG, with the judge being the authority within the DOJ who can then sign off on the said party's waiver. For example, if Bones dies, Malton is free to disclose whatever information he wishes. If Bones becomes incapacitated, the next of kin or the DOJ would have to waive the privilege on Bones' behalf. So even if there were privileged conversations, if somebody's dead, they are no longer privileged. My only concern comes from, let's say I went out with Tessa. Let's say we got drinks, right? And she was like, "Rhodes, hold my phone," and I'm holding onto her phone, and something happens to me. I die. The issue, in my opinion, of just immediately grabbing that phone and going through it is, but what if that was someone else's phone? I don't know. Like, it's something I'd probably want to try my best to rule out before just all sort of willy-nilly, going through it type deal.
Ooh, that's a good point. So what happens if it was a civilian in a conversation between potentially a drug dealer?
Fair game, 100%. If you see, hey yo, I'm trying to buy some meth. You know, it's X amount for 10 grams, or per baggie or something. Yeah, fair game, 110%.
So the report I'm referencing specifically is 3507. I'll try to make it pretty quick. TLDR, somebody was presented to the ER dead upon arrival. The mannerisms of which the circumstances leading up to it were suspicious. I responded to the ER. Had a conversation with Albert Walker and Beatrice. Got a location essentially of where he was found, the injuries that he sustained, and I noted his all of his personal stuff, etc. He had bags of marijuana on his person at the time of the ER. No cash in his wallet, rental papers to a vehicle, and a cell phone. I noted down his cell phone. I didn't seize the SIM card. I took the weed. No DNA on the weed. Called one of his emergency contacts later on. Did an interview with her. Did some basic questioning. All that's listed on the report. Come to find out, roughly about, I believe it was 22 hours prior to that incident, there was an incident that took place at the motel off of Route 68. That beat down motel right on the corner of Joshua, Route 68. If you're coming up Sonora Road. She described there was an incident. There was vehicle stage, trunks that were open. He arrived. There was a meeting. An exchange took place. And later on, Miss T was informed that he had bought some candy, at which she later found out was weed. He received a phone call from this group, basically pressing him to go sell the marijuana. Miss T had mentioned how they were trying to recruit him into the said gang. However, he didn't want to join the gang for personal reasons, but would at least participate in the act of selling the marijuana. Well, during the phone call, it sounded like things got a little heated because they wanted him to go sell it now. He didn't. Well, that was 22 hours prior. Come the next morning, he's found stabbed off of Cortez and Vitus Street in a populated area.
I don't want to derail this.
Good.
Something similar has happened in the past. I took a report of an individual who, oh gosh, this was a while ago. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to search. There's an individual who reported that two people had, oh my God, I remember the guy. He either got hit by a wrench or got stabbed, went to the hospital, was very thorough with his statement, and I think indicated he had applied to PD. I don't recall his name. I'll see if I can find it, but you can continue. But I figured I'd throw that out there just as this might not be the first instance of this happening.
Good. If that's the case, let's attach that report to mine, and then I'll do vice versa. That way I can have a look, see if there's anything. So I am processing all the paperwork. I went back to my apartment. I laid in bed, and right before I fell asleep, I had the idea of he had rental papers. There was a vehicle down there. I had about 20 minutes before the wave. Hopped my ass up on duty, flew down there, found his car. Nothing was in it. As I'm leaving, a Fudo pulls up, gets out, and literally stands right where the dude was killed. Sees me, hops back in the car, and drives off. This morning, 34
okay.
call. Got it documented, literally at the exact location. I responded as quick as I could. No one was on scene. I have documented weed sales on the location. I have the dispatch call. I went down afterwards and found where he was stabbed, took a photo of the crime scene, got his blood. Got to figure out who he was talking to because they called him, they sent him texts. So whoever this conversation took place with, there's going to be some sort of record.
Found it. Sorry. I'm gonna lose my train of thought.
It's all good.
Let me write this down. You can continue.
And essentially, after piecing all of it together, I come to find out that he was killed cornering weed down there, 100%. Definitely. So here's the other scenario. He was either killed because this group gang wants them to push on somebody else's turf, or the gang killed him because he didn't want to join, and they probably knew where he would be selling at some point, and could have staged in an alleyway right where those buildings are and easily jumped out behind him and stabbed him. So it was either his gang that killed him because he didn't want to join, or an opposing gang because of where he was selling.
Interesting. So my statement was Rhodes responded to a call individual by the laundromat. On arrival, Rhodes saw a person who's later identified as Andrew Fritz. On looking him over, he seemingly had been struck by a metal object, potentially hit by a car. Transported him to the hospital, received medical. And then within his statement, he was told he was being forced, although he denied, to sell weed by two individuals, and that he still had two of the baggies on his person. Rhodes asked for consent to search him, to which he agreed. Rhodes then took the baggies of weed from his person. There was no DNA on the baggies. And so his statement was, so I just kind of got here, just flew in. Probably not more than a couple hours ago, I walked down to the burger place by Palomino in San Andreas. I go in and order a burger. I walk in, there's nobody at the front, just some lady with pink hair and an old-looking guy. I asked for a burger. He talks to me for a bit, makes it seem like he's working there. And some other guy comes up and says he doesn't work there. Some dude with gray hair, dressed like a movie star. Then there was a girl with pink hair. She had a uniform on. After I got out of the restaurant, I think I saw the girl get into a black car. And I asked for a ride. I said, hey, is there anywhere you could take me that I could go, somewhere I can get a job, some money, meet new people? The guy hopped in the back and the girl with the pink hair was in the front seat. I remember I was driving down the road, took a right down towards the laundromat, parked by the church across the street. The guy put something on the back of my seat. Couldn't see what it was. He gave me 2 bags of weed and told me to go corner it for him. I just got here. In fact, hold on. I think I still have the weed on me. But he hands me the 2 bags and says, go sell this to the dude over there. I say, yo, is this legal? I'm not sure what the laws are in the state. And that's when the girl with pink hair said it's not legal. I'm thinking it's a joke. Everybody's laughing, but it started getting too real for me. They pointed across the street, told me to go sell the 2 bags of weed. At that point, I'm just trying to talk myself out. I asked, how about I give you guys the bags of weed back and we go our separate ways? The girl pushed out a flashlight and said that, doing it the hard way. They started coming towards him. He turned around and ran away, and that's the last thing he remembered.
The person that I seen yesterday pull up looked like it was a female, but they were fully masked up.
Do you know what vehicle?
A club. It had a spoiler on it. I've never.
Interesting.
It stood out to me because I've never seen a club with a spoiler on it, and it looked ugly as fuck. It was dark out, so I can't tell. I don't know if it was a dark blue or a dark black, but it definitely had an off tone, like an off tone metallic.
Hello?
Secondary 2-tone.
Rhodes,
What's up?
you have 2 options.
I'm busy that day.
Option 1,
L.
I go fucking kill, stab, murder everyone, ambush cops, make everyone's life a living hell. That's option 1. Or option 2, I go to my apartment and I go play video games and you join me.
Oh. I like that one.
10 men's?
Yeah, which one? The L or the V?
The V.
Okay. All right. Is there like a lot of people?
We have 9. We need 1 more.
Oh, yeah. I'm in.
Yeah. All right. Hell yeah.
Right now?
Sounds good. Yeah, like right now, everyone's going to go to sleep soon.
Okay. I do need to, I need like 5 to 10.
That's fine.
Is that okay? Okay, perfect.
That's okay. Right. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Count me in.
All right. Sounds good.
Bye.
See ya.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. So he was approached by a female with pink hair and an old-looking guy.
If the statement seems scattered, it's because I wrote it as they said it. So if they, if they got interrupted, lost their train of thought, started elsewhere, that is exactly how it came out of their mouth, word for word.
Something tells me. I mean,
two
there's
people
no direct connection.
forced to corner weed.
Well, I don't really necessarily. If we knew where, then I would definitely say. But I've referenced it, and I think it could be. I'm gonna call Fritz at some point, and I'll do a follow-up interview with him. See maybe if anything may ring a bell in regards to like a location specifically. I'm gonna go check the weed and see if it's the same strain. Now that I think about it, see if what he gave.
Now I will say I'm inclined to, and I could be wrong here, but I'm inclined to believe that it may have been before the evidence lockers that we have now in the evidence lab. So it may be in, R2197 as opposed to going up to the locker at the lab. But I mean, his phone number's there. You can absolutely give him a call. Definitely interesting.
In regards to the subpoena for the phone records, is it just like the subpoena report and fill that out and list kind of the information that I kind of explained here in the subpoena on like the actual MDT? I was a little confused on how we submit a subpoena for phone records. Just how the process went.
So I'm gonna be real. I haven't seen warrants or subpoenas written, but I'm going to assume it would be creating a report, listing it as a subpoena, writing all of that out. You want a statement of probable cause indicating why you need this information. In this case, it could be as simple as this, SIM card / phone was on a deceased person, and then reference the report. And when I say reference, you can, well, if a judge is looking at it in the MDT, they can also reference the others. But reference all of the related reports, and, obviously list the reason as to why we want this information. In this case, looking into the murder, determining whether or not there were any phone calls, text messages in close proximity to the time of their death, stuff like that. Now, I'm going to be real. Like I said, I have yet to submit a subpoena or warrant. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know the exact route, because genuinely I don't. Previously, it was filling out a form, your name, call sign, rank, the statement of PC, any potential charges that were coming of it. And that was for the most part it, and getting it signed off by a higher up. In this case, it would have to be Commander High Command. Now, did you take the phone?
No, I didn't seize it. No.
Okay,
I just
so
documented the SIM card.
I'm not sure if judges are able to. I know in the past they were able to pretty much get all phone data, whether that be phone calls, text messages to and from that number. But I don't quite know if they still do. And if they don't, the next best course of action would be having the physical phone on their person. So I'm going to be real. I think moving forward, if you do deal with another deceased or DOA individual, best bet is to take all of their possessions and put it within the report, because you are not going to be able to grab any of that stuff afterwards.
Let's say they have emergency contact and they're present. The way that I kind of was interpreting it was they were inclined to their property.
Honestly, while the answer to that, in my opinion, is yes, not during an investigation. Any aspect of their possessions at the time of their death could be something to help with the investigation, right? If they had weed on their person, obviously that's of importance. If they had a phone on their person, yes, although a phone is valuable, the information on that phone is valuable to, let's say, a family member. The value in us having it to ensure that we can sort of try to backtrack the best we can to figure out who they've been in contact with to further help our investigation takes priority. And the only time that stuff would be given to their next of kin would be in the event where the investigation is closed and done. If we got someone, at that point, we don't need to hold on to anything else. But truthfully, most stuff wouldn't end up being returned anyways.
Yeah, after hearing your perspective, I think that makes the most sense. Initially, I knew something was up, but I didn't really know how far it was going to go, and that was kind of on me for not assuming the worst, I guess, and really seeing the potential, that this could lead into. I didn't really honestly. I thought it was just going to be the report and walk out of there and be done. But as things start to unravel themselves, I'm like, it's a lot deeper than what it actually is, and I'm kicking myself over it because I sat there and I read the SOPs because I wanted to take it, but I wasn't sure, so I pulled up the SOPs to follow the DOA process and make sure I wasn't doing anything, and I didn't see seize it, so um could be helpful to maybe have a bullet point on there for the SOPs for future
You're
new
not
hires.
wrong. I'm actually going to make that recommendation because, in my opinion, that should absolutely be first priority. Like, again, that stuff is no longer valuable to this person, right? The only value that stuff could have is to either us as a police department, or again, if the investigation concludes and we get charges pushed on somebody, again, if they had something of value, like what if they had a sort of one of a kind knife or something that their family is going to treasure. After the investigation, there's no harm in giving that back to them, but we at least need to have the stuff in our evidence locker so that in the event where we need to reference something, it's actually in our possession.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
I'm going to make that recommendation though, because you're not wrong. It really should be a matter of taking everything, because it does indicate to document it, which you did. You documented everything very well, but at the same time, like, what if a judge approaches us and says, okay, but I need the physicals, sim. That person's in the morgue, I'm going to make that recommendation right now so I don't forget.
I got a feeling, though, that it's got to be... I think that's ultimately the best way, so we don't have to worry about if it's recoverable. Hopefully it is, though. Cross my fingers.
I'm hopeful. I'm definitely hopeful. There we go.
I will work on this subpoena at some point. I'm going to be going 42 to go get some food, so once I get a full tummy and a good state of mind, I'll start working on this subpoena. But I have good faith that will lead to some follow-ups, so there will be some good interviews afterwards. Who knows? I mean, maybe I can end up getting some sort of, I don't know, accessory to murder. Like, if this guy says, yes, I sold him this marijuana and I told him to sell it here, then I don't know, maybe maybe an accessory to murder. He didn't necessarily, kill the guy, but he was giving him the weed to go out and sell it. I don't know, maybe some drug sales charges. I don't know. I'm gonna keep an open mind about that, but I'm just trying to see what sort of where it'll go with follow-up questions to these other parties. I would like to get somebody detained on scene at some point who's selling down there, question them, get them to flip on maybe who the leader of the group is down there, who's all involved, if they've heard anything about someone who's gotten stabbed in that area. That's why I was so quick to try to get to the 34 down there this morning, but there was literally no one. But there's a lot that can come from this. Somebody knows something, and somebody will flip. It's just a matter of time.
You also have to remember that people are willing to flip, but only when they're essentially forced to. Rarely will you ever find someone on their own accord willing to give you info. But, I mean, you run into someone with a bunch of stuff on them, you know, you'd be willing to cut them a break. That's a whole different story.
I think another aspect too is I think if word gets around that there's an officer who's seriously investigating it and doing all parts, you know, all the parts that are required, I think when people know that someone's taking it seriously, they have a change of heart to some degree. Some people, you know, more willing to talk to people who they know are taking shit seriously per se.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Oh, so that's
not
my
wrong.
main investigation. Secondary investigation behind that is a missing person, Sylvester Simpson. Shit did not make any sort of sense with the Cosney King report. Matter of fact, I think he's the primary suspect involved with it, but I won't go too far into that. But there is a report on that as well. That Cosney King guy sus as hell.
I don't know that I've run into him, but I do have to get going.
Not a problem.
That phone call. But I mean, I'll be around tomorrow. If you have any questions or need any advice, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or any FTO. All right.
Appreciate
You're doing
you,
good
Rhodes.
work out there.
Thank you, sir.
Keep it up.
Have a good day.
I'm watching you. In a good way. In a good way.
Absolutely.
To be clear.
Of course.
This is fine. Fuck me. There we go.
What did you just do?
Rob, thank you for the 4 years. I appreciate it. Let me check the Hydra Discord. Oh. Oh, they're all waiting on me. They are waiting on me. All right. Might as well. Oh, gosh. Permanently stuck repairing. All right, sorry about that. Been a little while since we played Val.
Knife changed the way you walk in the game.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's just the fucking running animation looks stupid as shit. Like the knife's like go back and forth, whatever the hell.
Hello.
Hey.
What's up, Kirby?
I'm here to play some Valorant.
Oh, yes.
He's here to snipe us.
Are you stream
Damn.
sniping? You stream sniping?
No, he's a sniper.
No, I have standards.
Oh, I don't.
Okay, noted.
I'm learning up the stream as we speak.
He really didn't have to tell us that for us to know.
Okay, you guys are cringe.
I would not waste money on this new bundle.
About the classic skins, you guys like these?